Hello students, welcome to our Java class. So here today we'll be talking about the TCP IP protocol and the UDP protocol that we use in Java in order to create our programs. So as I have already discussed with you this and you have also mentioned in your Google Classroom the advantages of TCP IP over the UDP protocol. TCP is a reliable protocol. That means we can actually really rely on the way it will transmit its data, and the receiver is guaranteed to receive the data. Whereas the UDP is not so reliable. It is just like a person who is throwing a stone very hard, and we make sure that the stone will go as far as possible, but there is no guarantee that it will reach its destination. So as I say this, so let's look at these two programs. Here what I did is that there is a server program. This is the first part that we'll talk about, is the TCP server. So we have a server program and we have a client program, and while running it also I will tell you how to run this program. So now if you look at this program, here we have a class called TCP server, right? And these are some variables which are storing the length as well as the port number. So port numbers is 5000. You can create any port number, but make sure you create a port number which does not collide with the existing port number of your system. There are very many port numbers which are pre-reserved by your system, so make sure you don't use them. Now you can see in this program this is TCP server, this is also TCP server. That means this is nothing but this is a constructor, which is the moment the object will be created, it will be saying that the server is up and running. So here we have a method called wait and serve client. So this one, now here what we are doing is that we are creating, you can see that we have a class called server socket. The moment you use this server socket client, so that means this particular this the name of this server socket is the server socket only, as it's written over here, and we have a socket. Now the when you create a server socket, one thing you should understand, a server socket can only receive data. That means it can only receive connections and other data, it cannot send. But whereas the socket, when we create a socket, it can send data as well as it can receive. So it's a both way. And of course we need a stream, that is we created an output stream, because this one is going to send the data. See, when the server wants to send the data, it cannot send it by using the server socket, because the server socket it can only receive data. So it needs a socket which can actually send the data as well as receive. But right now in this program, what this program is doing is that the server is sending a message and the client has to receive it. So the server is to send the message. If the server is to send the message, that means it needs a socket. So this is the socket that will do the job. Now you cannot send your data directly by using the socket. What you need is a particular stream that you have to connect it with the socket. So if you are receiving, then you will use an input stream. If you are sending data, then you will need an output stream. So we have an output stream. So here you can see the server socket, it creates the socket with that port number 5000, and the length means how many, means 5 connection. So that's the length of this one, and this is the port number. So we have created the server socket. Now here, in case any error, so this is what it's going to do over here. So now we are creating the socket. Now if you remember this socket, all right, as it can only receive connection, so the socket that we have created over here, it helps us to receive or accept the connection through the server socket. You can see the server socket accept the connection and we store it in the socket. Now next what we do is that we are creating this one output, that is this out, if you remember it's a stream, and that stream we are connecting to the socket get output stream. That means through socket whatever we want to send, we will be sending it to the output stream, which will be connected to the output stream. As you can see, this output belongs to the output stream. So now you can see we have a string which says welcome to the world of network programming. Now this output, which is a stream, output stream, remember the you have to remember the steps in which you are going. All right, that output is connected to the socket output. Can you see that? All right, so that means if I am saying output dot write, and we are taking one character from this particular string, like W, next is E, next is L, next is C, and so on, it will keep on, because S dot character at I, because this will keep on looping from I equals to 0, I I is less than s dot length. S is this one, the length of this one. So it will get one character, and it will keep on writing to the output screen, because output dot write. So one character until there is no character left. So it will keep on doing that. So the server will actually, that's what the server is sending this data by using the output stream. All right, and it is sending this one. So this is basically what is happening over here. And then finally, if everything works fine, then we are closing the socket, and we're closing the output stream also. So, and then when the main starts, of course it starts that the server wait and serve, so it will keep on sending this data. Now let's come to the client portion. When you look at this client portion, all right, so we have a TCP IP TCP client. Again, it's a class. So here is again a constructor which will say the client is up. Now this is the function which will help us to connect. Now as we know, this is a client, that means we do not need the server socket, right? We need the normal socket. So that is this one, socket, the socket. Okay, and this client is going to receive data. So if it is going to receive data, then we need the input stream. So input stream is for this variable will represent my input stream. So now let's look at this one. So the socket first of all gets the server address to this. All right, so means it gets a local host, because in this particular example, what I'll do is my server will also be running in the this machine only, as well as the client will run also in the same machine. Since I know that the server is running in this machine, so what we are doing is that we are using innet address dot get localhost. So it will get the localhost, that means the machine's IP. Okay, so since it is in the same server, and the port number is of course that 5000, if you can remember, it's the same port number it has to be. So now that the socket will be connected to the so-called the local host, right? Now that socket we are getting the input stream, you can see over there. And then what we'll do is that it will say that created the input stream. Once you got your input stream, what you need to do is that you just simply has to loop around. You can see input dot read. Input is that stream, is the stream which is connected to the socket's input stream, right? So and the socket is connected to the local host. So now it gets the data. So remember, the server was sending some welcome to the program world of networking, that it will keep on reading, and it will read one character, and it will get it in this C, which is of type character, and keeps on printing in the screen. So whatever is this one. So this is how this one works, and finally everything works. We close the socket as well as the stream. And this is how we do it. First of all, in this program what we are doing is that we are asking the this is the buffer reader, through which, because with the help of the this one we are asking please enter the address of the server. So what I'll do is that I will type localhost, or if you know the IP address of your server, just type the IP address, and then it will connect to that. If the server is not in this current machine, then you will type the particular IP address of the server. So whatever address you will type it, it will go to this address, and then what we are doing is that finally we are saying TCP client, and then this is the address, and it will connect it. So let's see how it works. Okay, I hope you understood. C dot address, C is this your so-called your client, right? And this address is over here, you can see that. Okay, and that's how it is getting connected to that particular address. As we have already seen, this is the local host, because the client has started with the socket over here. Okay, so and then it will get the address, so and then finally connect to. So let's see. I'll first of all, what I have to do is that I have to run the server. So you go to your server program, right click on it, and you can run. If you are using NetBean, this is, so it is saying the server is up and running. The moment the server is up and running, it is sending this one, welcome to the world of networking, but there is no client running right now, right? So if there is no client running, right, then it cannot receive it. So now come back to the client and make sure you run the client. Now you can see, please enter the address of the server to communicate. So as I told you, I will write local host, because that's my server, right? So now it says client is up, socket is created the input stream, and can you see that it has read what, welcome to the world of network programming. The server is serving, right, and this one, this client has received. Let's say I run it again, right, and then again I say local host. Hold up, just a minute, I made a mistake, I closed it actually, a mistake. So let's again run the first. See, this is one thing about the client server program, the server must be running first. You have to make sure the server is running, then go to the client and run the client, then only you can see your output, right? So we'll say local host. Okay, so there you can see this one, right? So if I say again run, because of course the port is occupied again, so this server is again stopped, because every time the server sends the data, after that actually what we are doing is that we are means just 1 minute, sorry, right, just hold on. See, every time we run the server, after the server finished running, what we did is that we used to close the socket as the output stream. That means it doesn't send any. Once it has sent the data, then it stops it. But if you don't want, then don't use this. You use the closing part according to your will, so that it can serve multiple clients. That is up to you. You can actually create a program that can do this job also. So this is about the TCP IP or TCP client server application that we can write in Java. So I will attach this program along with this along with your Google Classroom. You can try it out, this program also. Okay, so I'll just say, yeah, made a mistake, so that everything, I hope, yeah. Okay, now let's come back to the UDP programming. Now, as I told you, the UDP program is not a reliable way of doing a networking programming, but that also you can use it as a client server program. So this is a UDP program where you can see that here we have a code server thread. So this is a thread program, okay, where we are creating a thread that will serve the code. Code means actually it will take from, I have kept in this E drive, I have kept one file called one liner. Now in this one liner you can see that there are certain like quotes you can see. All right, so that server, what it will do is that it will read one quote at a time, and it will send it to the client who will request it. All right, so that's what is going to happen in this program. So now to do that, again we need some. Now here is how we do it. First of all, when you are using a UDP program, you need to create something called a datagram socket. So not the socket that you have done over there in your TCP program. This is a datagram socket. Okay, so this socket is a datagram socket. We need a buffer reader to read. All right, we have a boolean variable called more quotes, just to check whether there are more quotes left in that file or not. All right, so you can see that we have got two constructor, one is this one and another this one. So in this constructor what we are doing is that we are renaming our thread to this, what is called code server thread. All right, so whatever name you will be supplying, also it will go to the super means your thread class name, so the name will be coming through that. So now you can see that we are creating this socket, which is a datagram socket at this particular port number, right? And then we are creating a input. You can see this is the buffer reader, which reads from the file reader, which is connected to this E one-liner text. What very simply you have to understand is this is an input stream, right? So sorry, this is your buffer reader, which is actually it helps you to read from a any particular stream. So right now that stream is connected to your file reader, so it reads from the file. So this in will help you to read text from the file. All right, now when our program starts, that is the thread starts, what it does is that more quotes is nothing but it's a boolean variable. So initially what, it's true means this is true, so it will come over here. Now what we are doing is that we are creating a buffer of certain bytes. So 256 bytes, one buffer. That means in this socket can read in one go 256 bytes. All right, and whatever bytes it will read, this buffer dot length is what, 256, and whatever it will read, the 256 bytes it will read, and it will store it in this buffer. Now if I make only, let's say, 2, right, but our file was having a lot of this file that we have over here has got more than 2 characters, right? So in that case it will read only 2, but I want to read it quite a lot, so I just make sure that it can read in one shot 256 bytes. All right, so this packet can now read 256 bytes. Okay, so now socket is in which mode? It is in the receiving mode, means it can receive data. All right, of what size? Of this packet, which is 256 bytes. Okay, now first of all we'll check if that initial and that our buffer reader is null or not, because it will read from the file and the file has got some data, right? When it's open, so is it null? No. Why? Because it has got a string on it. So that means this condition will become false. All right, so if this is false, it will come to the else part. I hope you understand why. Because the moment you will open a file, this is not null. So if it is null, that is at the end of the file, it will return the D in case it cannot open. But right now it's not null, so it will come here. Now what it will do, we are calling a function called get next quote. Okay, it's a function that has been defined over here. You can see this. Okay, so it will get the quote, means one line of text. Okay, and put it in this D string. How does it get the string? You can see over here. What it does is that if the return value, which is initially null, right? So if it will read in dot read line, so it will read. So is there a data in the first line? Yes. So it will read this actually. All right. So when it reads this, that means this return value, will it be null, or will there be a some contents? There will be some contents. What will be the content? Life is wonderful without this is what it's written, right? So it will read that content and this return value will have that one. Okay, now if so it's not null, so that means this is not true. This will be true only when there is no more quotes left. All right, but right now there is a quote, so it will return. So then it will simply take that value and return. So that means here it will come here, right? It reads over here, get next quote. So it reads. So what is that? It has read. It has read this one. Life is wonderful without it would be dead. So it will read this first line of code, right? Now what it will do? Now once it has read the code, now we are converting it into again bytes. All right. Then we are creating the first we get the address of the packet. Okay, so packet dot get address, so it will get the address, then it will get the packet dot port number also it will get. All right, now you create a packet. Now when you create that packet, you put that data. Can you see this d string which has been converted to this bytes? So we are sending this byte, 256 bytes we are sending, okay, in that particular address with that port number. All right, so these things are happening. This buffer is having that entire string. This is the length of the string, all right, which is as many bytes it will read from there, and then to that address and that port number it will send. So how does it send? Just socket dot send the packet. So this all these things are happening in the server, because so basically what is happening, we are reading from a file by using the buffer reader. Then from that buffer reader we create a packet, and then through that packet we are sending the data with the socket. Through the socket we are sending the packet, right? So main just creates the thread, so immediately all those things happen. So basically the server reads a file from the from a text file, reads this file, reads one quote, all right, and through socket it sends the packet. Now the client has to receive it. So this is the client part, right? So client, what it is doing is this one. Here again we are creating a socket, which is a datagram socket. Fine. Again of how many bytes? 256 bytes. The host name will be local host again. All right. So again get by name host, like if you want to get the name of your machine, you can learn about this innet address. Innet helps address helps you to know about the machine name, okay, the port number and all those things. That it helps you to do that. So you can get the machine name also. Then what we do, we create a packet again. All right, why do you need to create a packet? Because you have to receive it. Okay, so here what you're doing is that sorry, this is going to send the name of the host to the server. Okay, so it gets again, to create a packet you need the how many bytes, what is the length, what is the address, and what is the so called your port number. Okay, and then you just send. So socket dot send this packet means this packet is nothing but this buffer, right? That is the name of so called this entire address it will be sending. So now packet, now that quote that you have sent, okay, from the server, this is helping us to receive it. You can see this packet we are creating, buffer dot length, and that socket dot receive that packet. So it will send that to, that many bytes. Through this we'll receive it. Once we receive the packet, then what we do is that we simply convert string, that packet, get the data from the packet and convert it to a string and put it in a string variable, and then just simply print it over there. So let's see how it works. So let's come back to our this code server. That is, again, first of all we have to run the server, run this program. Okay, so there thread 1 is started because that's the name of the thread. All right, now that means the server is up. Now let's go to the client. So now when I run this, you can see code of the moment is life is wonderful. So that's the first code, right? If I run it again, then can you see that it is taking a next one, daddy, why it doesn't? That's because, can you see that it is the next line? Then what is the next line? We are born. Okay, so if suppose there is a mistake, so let's say, so can you see that it has next? So it will keep on reading until there is the end of the file, right? And then when so there is no more codes left, right? So that's how it can read the entire data from all the packets. Okay, so this is example of your networking by using TCP as well as UDP. I will attach these two files also along with this video, so that you can actually practice both these programs in your desktop or a laptop. Thank you.